Hi there, I'm Elizabeth Stolle and I am a professor at Grand Valley State University, and I'm going to teach you a little bit about writing. So we're going to do some poetry writing today. Writing is one of my most favorite things, and I think poetry is just super fun. So I thought that we would work on a couple different poems today. So one of the hardest parts about writing is trying to figure out what to write about. So sometimes writing about ourselves is something that's fun to do. So we can write about our names or things that we like to do, hobbies. So I like to swim, I like to run, I like to camp. So those are things that I could choose to write about. I also think that sometimes looking around our house or around our backyards or on a walk, we can think about different writing ideas. So I did a little searching in my own house. I went to my kitchen and I found a banana. I could write about bananas or food. I found an apple. I went apple picking this weekend. I could write about an apple. I could write about juice boxes or something that I like to drink. I also thought about what are different things that I like. I like Marvel movies, so I found a Marvel character. Or I love sports, and I love to watch football on TV, so I could write about football. I also found in my bedroom a seashell that I had from a vacation I went on. I could write about a vacation, or I could write about a seashell. I found a leaf on my walk the other day. I could write about leaves or fall, or I could write about a pumpkin. So those are some ideas, but sometimes creating ideas is the hardest part. So when we go into poetry writing, sometimes it's helpful to jot down some ideas of things that we might want to write poems about. So I'll give you a few minutes to look around your house, maybe look outside, and see if you can come up with some ideas that you might want to write about. So the first poem that we're going to learn how to write is called an acrostic poem. An acrostic poem is a poem that's usually about an item or a thing or a person, and you write it and describe that thing in your poem. So I'm going to show you a couple examples. So an acrostic poem is when we decide on what we want to write about, and we write the word down the left column of our paper in a vertical way, so it goes up and down. So I decided to write a poem about swimming because I love to swim. And so I chose the word swim, so I wrote S-W-I-M down the left side of my paper. Then I thought about adjectives and words that I think of when I think about myself swimming. And I thought about the letters that each of these lines start with. So I had to come up with words that start with S or W or I and M. And I came up with strokes, wet, individual, meet. So these are words that I think of when I think about swimming, and they line up with the letters for the word swim, S-W-I-M. And each word lines up with the letter strokes, wet, individual, meet. And that's my poem. I want to share another example of a poem that my daughter Naomi wrote. So it's an acrostic poem, and she decided to write about her name and to choose describing words that describe her as an individual. So her name is Naomi. N-A-O-M-I. So she chose words that start with these letters, N-A-O-M-I, to describe herself.
Naomi. N, nice. A, amazing. O, outstanding. M, motivated. I, interesting.
Now, when we write an acrostic poem, we can use individual words like I did in my swim example. But we can also write poems where we use phrases. So it's not just words, but words and phrases. So here I'm going to show you a couple examples. So this example the first one is about cats. Cuddly, acrobatic, tenacious, softly purring. And the next one is about fear, frightening, eerie and strange. Anxiety rises, ready to flee. This example is about an object in your kitchen, the toaster. Thunk goes the strudel as it drops, out of sight while I anticipate strawberry cream cheese. Time passes slowly, then it finally ejects, ready for that first delicious bite. So this is almost like a story about waiting for your strudel to come up out of, or your bagel or your bread to come up out of the toaster. And this is another way that you can write an acrostic poem. Now it's your turn. So I hope that you have generated some great ideas that you can write an acrostic poem about, whether it's a place that you visited, or a favorite pet, or a fun object that you found in your house. Go ahead and write that word down the left column of your paper, vertically up and down, and then think about the letters in that word and try to come up with words and phrases that start with those letters so you can write your own poem. It can either be a describing poem, or you could write a story like our toaster example. Whatever you come up with, I'm sure it will be amazing, and I hope you have the opportunity to share it with some friends and family. Take care. Happy writing.